Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the second hour of Atlanta Live. Once again, my name is Hasani, and this is my beautiful wife, Danielle Pettiford, and we're the founders of Couples Academy, and we're committed to strengthening relationships and helping couples by placing them on the path to fulfillment. And it's really interesting because as we deal with couples all over the country, we find that so many people go through struggles and challenges in their relationship, but they're not willing to do anything to change their situation.
So true. We get emails and calls, and people are going through some serious issues, some things that are heartbreaking, but they'll let something stop them from moving to the next stage. It could be finances. It could be just don't want to do the work. The list goes on.
It does. And you know, one of the questions that I often ask couples all the time, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most, what is your willingness to learn, whatever it takes, to make your relationship work? And oftentimes I get a 10, right? And then when you tell them what they have to do, all of a sudden that number begins to change, right?
Because it's hard work.
It is hard work.
It is hard work. And somebody had said earlier that marriage is a ministry, and it is a ministry. It takes hard work.
Marriage is spelled W-O-R-K,
no, it's
right?
spelled H-A-R-D-W-O-R-K.
Well, there you go. That's true.
Yeah.
And the second question I always ask them is this: on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most, what is your willingness to change?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they think, because they realize that if my relationship is going to get better, that means that I have to do something?
Yeah.
Because all this time we've been pointing the finger at our spouse,
That's
right? But when you point the finger, you got to realize that there are 3 fingers pointing right back at you.
Right.
So it requires that you must do something for yourself.
Exactly.
And check this out. The best way to get someone to change is to change you, because when you change you, you're forcing them to adjust to your change, thus making them change.
Exactly. You know what, Hasani? I actually thought I was perfect before I met you.
She really did. I bust that bubble quick.
Yes, you did. I thought I was perfect, and I think that's one of the problems. We need to realize, people, that we all have issues, and even if he's wrong, you are also wrong. So we all have work to put in, and I think it was critical for us when we went through our counseling, when we were going through, that we were able to identify our own issues.
Yes.
Isn't that critical?
Yes. The lowest common denominator in every relationship you enter into is you, because you take you everywhere you go. And what I want to encourage couples to do is to fight for your marriage. Stop fighting with each other or at each other, but link up and fight against the world, because there's so many challenges, there's so many temptations, there's so many personal vices, right, and struggles and sins and weaknesses that cause us to fall out with one another. But if you believe that God ordained you to be with the one that you're with, then you got to fight to keep it.
Absolutely. I think there was a time in my relationship when we were falling apart and going through everything that I'm like, the in-love feeling is over. There's no getting it back. It's impossible. And what do we women do? We build up walls, right, where nobody can get in. And we'll even still cook dinner. We'll serve. We'll do the laundry and everything. But you're not getting but so far. And I think that it wasn't until, like I said, I was able to open up and see my own issues. And then you were really penetrating, because you were committed and kept coming and doing what God asked you to do, and we came together and the walls started to crumble down. And I am so amazed today to be able to say that I am in love with this man. And that is a passionate love. It is like it was. It is like it used to be.
But what you said was so powerful, Danielle, because you said there was a time in our relationship when you fell out of love. And that is a normal progression or regression that takes place in a relationship. People get married because they fall in love. People get divorced because they fall out of love. So in terms of learning couple skills, you have to learn what is required to maintain that in-love feeling. We're going to be talking about that later today, about meeting the emotional needs of your partner. Because if you don't meet those emotional needs, I can teach you skills all day long, how to communicate, how to trust, how to resolve conflict. But if there's no desire on your part to make it work, you're going to have a whole lot of challenges.
And I think that's one of the issues. You know, nobody talks about that when we're getting married. They talk about the white dress, they talk about the limo, they talk about the flowers, all those details. You talk about the rings, you talk about the honeymoon, but nobody talks about the work. Nobody talks about all the things that get involved in, you know, being married, being in a relationship, just the hard work. And we're not taught that the in-love feeling could dwindle away. We're not taught that that's a natural progression, that there's something that takes work. Because the things that you used to do, you will suddenly stop doing. once the kids come,
That's
right?
so true.
You get tired, you get lazy, you get monotonous, and you stop doing those things that caused you to have the in-love feeling. But if you continue to do those things, you can be in love until the grave.
But what you just said, Danielle, was powerful. We spend 8 months, 10 months, a year preparing for the wedding. But spend 3 to 4 hours in sessions preparing for our marriage.
Right.
And then we wonder why our relationships
backwards.
just don't work.
Yeah, that's backwards.
So we spend all time preparing for the day and very little time preparing for the day after. Now that you are in your day after season, you got to fight. You have to do whatever it takes. If that means get you a $20 book from Barnes & Nobles, get the book. If it means paying for a counseling session, dig in your pocket, do whatever it takes, but get that counseling session. If it means going to a couples retreat, if it means joining a group of other like-minded individuals that are on the path to fulfillment, do whatever it takes. The principle is to put your money where your marriage is. Listen, I'm so excited about this show. We have our singers coming right back. Sojo Ministries. Stay tuned as they sing another wonderful selection.